Thanks very much, Prof, for granting us the interview. Do you think political ads on Facebook and Twitter will affect the election? And can you tell us if postal voting is going to be transparent?
Hi, Kat. It's always an honor to be on your show, and I want to thank you and your colleagues at CRTV for always treating me very nicely when I appear on your shows. This is a very good question, and of course, the coronavirus pandemic has affected many things in our lives. So life is not like it's ever been before. None of us has ever seen a situation like this before, and so everything is being done in a new way. And so the advocates for mail-in voting, I think they did have a good reason in that hardly anyone was sure whether people will be able to go vote in person. I've already voted. I did vote in person, and there was some good social distancing. But also, you have to give some, I guess, credit to those that are really critical of mail-in voting. I can see their point of view, which is also my point of view, in that the postal system is not ready or was not ready for transparency in the mail-in voting system. It is not me reporting this. You know, many news media have already reported several people, postal workers, that were arrested for throwing away votes that they thought were beneficial to Donald Trump. And so some of them are in prison right now because of that. So that answers your question directly. It cannot be transparent because the right measures have not been put in place to ensure there is such transparency. So President Donald Trump is right to be skeptical about this, and many Republican voters are absolutely skeptical about mail-in voting, and that's why the turnout for the election on election day will be very high in terms of Republican turnout compared to Democrats that, I mean, many Democrats have already voted by mail. Maybe some years down the road, the mail-in voting system will be improved. I mean, another thing you can think about, with mail-in voting, okay, you get this the paper to cast your ballot, and you can get it through your mail. Somebody receives it at home. Anybody can vote for you without you even knowing. They can complete that form and they put it back in the mail, and people may think it's you, but it's not you. So there are a lot of things that have not been done, or a lot of measures that have not been taken to ensure that fraud is minimized. So I am definitely with President Trump on this, to be skeptical about the transparency of mail-in voting.
Well, do you think that postal voting will be transparent?
Absolutely. Political ads on Facebook or any social media do affect voting outcome, because, you know, today is the information age. As an ICT professor, I strongly believe in the use of social media, and a lot of young people that have just reached voting age get most of their news from social media. They get most of their political information from social media. This generation does not read newspapers or even watch TV or listen to the radio like the generations before them. So absolutely, Facebook and other social media do have a major influence in getting out information that would get an individual voting to make their decision. However, they have overstepped their boundaries. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, many of these big names are more left-leaning groups that support more democratic candidates and absolutely hate Trump. I mean, there is no doubt about it. They don't like Trump. And so even when you see on some of these social media, if you are a conservative and you put certain ideas on these social media, they can even block you. They can suspend your account. And so unfortunately, I think the social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, and so on, they have made a huge mistake to involve themselves in politics. They should stay out of politics. They were created for the purpose of giving a platform for people to express themselves, provide information, share information, and so on. They were not created with the purpose of policing information, and that is what they are doing largely to the benefit of democratic or left-leaning groups. And that is rather unfortunate that they are losing the focus of why they were created. If they continue in that trend, I can predict in the next 5 to 10 years, they will lose a lot of business, and you will start seeing new social media groups that are more balanced and things like that.
And as you earlier said, a lot of postal voters have been arrested, and there has been a lot of criticisms against Republican President Donald Trump on NBC and Fox News. Do you have anything to say on that?
Oh my goodness, what are some of the criticisms made against Trump? There are way too many. Much of the media out there have decided to be against Trump in one way or another. It amazes me that if you watch like CNN or MSNBC, this is no secret. 99.999% of the time, you will never ever hear anything positive about Donald Trump on those TV stations. Why? I mean, they have become advocates for democratic or left-leaning ideas, and it's rather unfortunate. I really think we miss those days of Peter Jennings and the Tom Brokos that were more balanced in their ways of doing things. We need media outlets that are more balanced in looking at both sides. Yes, even Fox News is more biased towards conservative ideas or Republican ideas, but at least several journalists on Fox News, you will hear them criticize Donald Trump. Okay, not all the journalists on Fox News are like, okay, yes, Donald Trump is right in everything. I find a lot more balance with Fox News compared to like CNN. So there are lots of criticism, but probably one of the biggest ones, many people want to criticize him. They talk about his style of talking, the way he talks to people, the way he talks to leaders around the world. Well, I mean, I myself, I don't sometimes like some of the vulgarity he uses and some of the things which I would not want my children to listen to. However, he's an honest man. He's straight to the point. He speaks his mind. He reminds me of a typical old man in Africa who will have nothing to lose, but they will just speak what comes to their mind. I think people don't like the fact that he's not a typical politician. He is a businessman that has joined politics and is running politics like a business. I have absolutely no problem with that. I absolutely admire his leadership style. I don't approve the way he talks all the time, but admire his leadership style. And all those criticisms will keep coming. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump does. The left-leaning media, which is most of the media, would hardly ever see anything good about this man.
Thanks very much, Professor Victor Mbarika, for granting us the interview. Let me remind our viewers that you are the president of the Board of Trustees of the ICT University.